again, if anybody needs some, little extra, I'm happy to meet with you on the side. Let's figure this all out. So what I have on tap today is to review Kaddish and Shema and continue through page 53. We got up to page 49 last week. So that's what I have on tap today. But if we have to go slower, I'm happy to go slower, to get everybody caught up or whatever. And I found out last week that, we go through June 12th. If we want to continue on, they'll leave the Zoom live for us if we need another week or two to catch up. So I'm not so crazy about like, oh, let's make sure we get through this page. Let's make sure we get through this page, because we can do, whatever we want. We're going to learn, I think maybe, a couple of more things, but everything else is just reading. Like, did everybody have not did everybody who had a chance to review the Kaddish and kind of, is able to do it and that sort of thing, is able to, read it, or are we still having trouble?
I read it.
Terry, how'd you do?
At times I have some trouble with it,
Okay.
especially when I try to do it with the second and third, the third when you were singing it, and the second when you were reading it, sort of even paced.
Right. Now, again, it depends on what you're looking for. Everybody's individually different. You may be looking for, I want to be able to sing this and read it myself. Or is it, I just want to follow along when someone else sings it. I want to be able to know where we are in the Siddur, that sort of thing. So those are two different things, right? To be able to read it back to me at my pace at that is very different than I sing it. You're able to follow each word in the Siddur. So decide what you want to be doing and aim for that. Don't try to aim for, oh yeah, I'm going to do all of this if that's not what you want, right? This is for you to learn. This isn't for me to give you a grade or anything like that. This is, what do I want to learn? Do I want to be able to follow along when we're in the prayer book? Great. Then when I did the Kaddish and I sang it slow, can you follow along on the words? Forget, can you sing it? Can you follow along on the words? Because that's ultimately, I think what most of us want is to be able to follow along when we're in shul or when we're at someone's house and we have the bencher in front of us, to be able to know where we are in that book.
I would like to be able to read it.
Okay, so that's, so you're going to have to put more time in then, right? To be able to read it, and that's okay. And I told you, ladies, when I read Torah, I take the tikkun and I read, let's say I'm doing 20 psukim, right? 20 sentences in the Torah. If I'm reading it, I read it and I read it 3 times. I read one sentence 3 times, then I chant it 3 times. Then I go to the next one and I read it 3 times and I chant it 3 times. So for a 20-line Torah reading that I might be reading on a Saturday morning, it takes me a full week and a half to 2 weeks to learn it.
Oh,
And I do it every day. And I actually I'll Xerox it. I'll bring it with me wherever I go. And my MO is I get in the car in the morning. I read the 3 line, I read 3 times. I drive to work. Before I get out of the car, I read it 3 times. When I get back in the car, you know what I mean? And I really work on it. I probably work 10 to 20 minutes a day on it. And so, that's the kind of time I know I need to put in to be able to do it. So if you want to sing it, then, you may need to put in 5 minutes a day, maybe extend that to 10 minutes a day to be able to sing it and, and get to that. I know that one of the things I want to make sure we do is Kaddish, so that we can get to doing Kaddish so that you can say Kaddish. And that there's no song to that. There's no whatever. That's just saying it at the pace that we're saying it in synagogue, right? So that's something I do want you to be able to do, because when you have to say Kaddish, I want you to be able to follow along. So, okay.
Okay.
So Alice, I was asking if you had a chance to review the Kaddish. How comfortable do you feel with it?
I did review it. It was a challenge. I enjoyed doing it.
Okay. Okay. And then I was talking about that everybody's going to have a different comfortability level. Some people just want to be able to follow along the words as somebody sings. Other
Yeah.
people want to be able to sing it. So depending on how comfortable you want to be is how much work you're going to put in.
I have a lot more work to do.
Okay. And that's okay. And that's okay. So, we can also decide, we'll do this weekly through, well, we actually have a couple weeks that we have to take off, right? We'll do this weekly through June 12th. And then maybe we get together once a month and review things and that sort of thing and go on to the next thing, or,
I'm very lax. I find out that, I like to do it every day, but what's been happening is that an hour or two before Sunday at 7:30, I started.
Okay.
And just that one day a week. It seems like the week goes by so quickly that,
Isn't that the story of our life though? I mean, there are times where I'm really good. I'm at work at 7 o'clock in the morning. I work 7 to 3.
Oh.
So there are days that I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I work out for 45 minutes and I take a shower and I make my coffee and I'm at my desk by 7 o'clock and it's a great day. And there are other days where I'm snoozing the alarm. I get up. By the time I get onto the bike, it's 5:20, 5:30. Maybe I don't bring my lunch. So, I didn't make my coffee. And so, whatever. Or there are days where I snooze and I don't get on the bike and I don't do any exercise. And then I get home and I want to, I'm really upset with myself. And it's everything with life, right? Do we take our medicine on time? Do we, whatever, and you go through stages, you go through ups and downs and that sort of thing. And that's the same thing here. So if you don't schedule the time, right, if you don't put it on your calendar that, from X time to X time today, I'm going to practice it. And then, it's just like anything else. It's, and it's only you who can set the priority, right? Like you decide what's the priority. So I'm glad that you have once a week where you're like, oh my gosh, I better do this because I'm going to get on the phone with Lymor and I want to make sure that I don't look like a fool. But, but again, you can never look like a fool in front of me because I know that we have lives and we have busy things and it is what it is, So, but like I said, I'll make sure that before June 12th, we're going to go over Kaddish. We're going to make sure we're all on that same page and whatever, because I think that's very important. And then after that, then I want you guys to tell me, okay, this is the prayer I want to know. This is the prayer I want to know. This is what I want to know. And we'll work on it. So, so let's do this.
I have one question. Is it totally prayer oriented, or can we do like general conversation? Hello, how are you? Or
So
I
don't think we have the time for that. Because hello, how are you is now you're getting into the conversation is different than reading is all I could say. And that's really hard to teach unless we start from the beginning, right? So, you know how to read it, but you don't know how to, you don't know what you're saying. So I try to give you that as we're going through it sometimes to say, hey, this is what this means or whatnot. And look at root words and see how those, what those root words are like. They're like kadosh and kiddush all mean holy, right? And so anything that you have something that has those 3 letters, kuf, daled, shin, in it is going to be the root word holy. Kiddushin, which is something we do at a wedding, is about the holiness of the wedding. It's about, it's actually when they take their vows, that's the holy part of the wedding. So anything that has that root word in it. but this isn't really a conversational class. And so, you know, I don't know if they would offer that, but that's something certainly that, you know, that might be a next step for you.
Lymor, I apologize for coming late. I just came home about 2.5 minutes ago from White Plains, New York. So I apologize.
Nice.
Sorry.
All right, all good, all good. We were talking about, I'll review it again, it's fine. We were talking about that some people want to be able to just follow along when the chazan or the rabbi is reading the prayers, and other people want to be able to sing and say them. And so if you want to sing and say them, you have to put in more work than if you're just going to read along, that sort of thing. Number one. Number two, we were talking about how hard it is to kind of set the time to be able to do this. How did you do, Lila, on Kaddish and learning the Kaddish?
Thank God. I did fine. Thank you very much. Yes, I
Okay.
did.
Good, good, good. Did anybody get to the Shema, or did we have a week off and we didn't get there, or how did we do? Tell me.
I did okay with Shema.
Okay.
I think I did okay because it's the first part of it is so familiar,
Right.
and we
Right.
do it so many times. And then we do the Ve'ahavta after it. And I try to follow and read it with the rabbi. So, you know, I did pretty well on my own because, as you say, it's following in a synagogue and singing. It makes it easier. I memorize a lot more when it has that melody. And when I sit down and I want to read it on my own, that's when I stumble. You know,
So Claire, you might be one of the people that says, listen, I just want to be able to follow along, and you get a recording and you put your finger and you follow along. And now, you know, when you're at shul Friday night or Saturday morning, or actually Shema's any day, but you know, you could
Yes.
follow along, you know, word for word with your finger. And then you feel like you know where you are, and you know, that sort of thing.
okay.
So it depends. Okay. So let's start with, let's see. Let's,
Lymor,
yeah.
what is the difference between the Shema that you have that's on page 49 and the one that's on 47?
So 47 isn't the Shema. 47 is, they try to do this thing where they say, okay, line 1, here's where the vets are in the Shema. And they give you all the words of the Shema that have the letter vet in it,
Oh,
right? And then they say,
Oh.
here's where the letter bet appears in the Shema, so that you can kind of practice it before you
Okay.
actually get to the Shema. But page
Thank you.
48 and page 49 and the bottom of page 49 are the exact same. It's just put differently, right? It's the same. If you read them, they're all going to be the same.
right.
They just laid it out differently in 48 so that you could read it easier. Whereas bottom of the page 49 is what you're going to see in the Siddur.
Okay.
Okay. Does
Mhm.
anybody, I did not record Shema. Does anybody want me to record that bottom of 49 Shema so you guys can follow along?
I
Yes?
could use it. I could
Okay.
use it.
Then let's do that. Hold on, let me get a piece of paper here. My daughter used my desks today. She had a meeting. She used my desk, so everything's in a little bit of a different spot. Okay, so it's all good. It's all good. And I need a pen that works. Perfect. Page 49. I will record that. Okay. All right. So let's get to page 50. I think we learned this when we were going over Pesach stuff, but we're going to learn it again. So this letter's a samech. And
Call it Samech.
samech, S-A-M-E-C-H. And it's pronounced just like our S, just like a sin. There's no difference between the sin and the samach and how it's pronounced. It's all grammatical. So let's do line 1 together.
S,
See,
see,
Say,
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 sa,
sa,
so,
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 su,
do,
su,
do,
so.
so.
Okay. All right, Lucero, pick a line from 2 to 8. Jump around so that we're, awake.
Si, so, su, se, se, what is that? Segula?
Yes?
Ah, okay. So, nesoja?
Nesucha.
Nesoja. Oh, there is, okay, that's it.
Yep. All right, Claire, do you want to read? Pick a line from 3 to 8.
Okay. So, se,
I couldn't hear well. Something,
Sorry. So line 4 is sof ma'aseh, sof ma'aseh b'machashava techila. Does that sound familiar? The last phrase, sof ma'aseh b'machashava techila. It's part of Lecha Dodi. That's the net hint, or road sign. That's the next one they're getting into for Friday night. Just so you know. Alice, do you want to read?
Sure. Did we do line 5?
You can do line 5.
Or did we do, I don't know what, what line we just
We've
do?
done 1, 2, and 4. You could pick any
Okay,
one you
then
want.
I will do 3.
Okay,
Is that a mem or a samach?
that's a samach.
Okay. Segula. Yam. Segula.
Am segula.
Segula.
Okay, so Alice just brought up a good point. Look at line 6, the second word. You see the first letter's a mem and the last letter's a samach. You see the difference? The mem has a little tail at the top and it's open a teeny bit at the bottom, whereas the samach has the same tail on top, but it's all the way around. You see the difference?
Yeah.
I can see how you could be confused because they do look very similar.
No, I think I got it confused with the
Shiva.
yam.
is it yam or is it
It's
The is it I'm sorry.
Yep, that's okay.
I got it confused with the closed
With the
mem.
mem Sophie, right? So if you
Yeah.
look at that line 3, what she's talking about, in the series of the 2 words where the mem and the samech look very familiar. The final mem is more of a square, and the samech is rounded.
Yeah.
So that's something to be careful about. And again, obviously, if it's in the front of a word or in the middle of the word, you definitely know it's a samech. But like
Right.
that second line, that second word in line 6, you could be confused that it would be a mem or a samach.
Mhm.
So that's something to keep in mind.
Okay, thank you.
Terry, do you want to read a line?
Yes. Someone just read
Someone read 3 and 4. We've read 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can read 5, 6, 7, or 8. Just tell us which one you're
I'll
reading before
try
you read it.
5.
Okay.
Nesuva.
Cha. That's a chaf, right?
Which 5?
Nesucha,
Oh, yes.
right?
Nesu.
I know it's hard
Nesuha.
because the bet looks exactly the same, except for it's got that little tail on the right-hand side. It's hard.
Right. Nesu. Ha. Okay. Me. Rosh. Me. Kedem. Ne. Su. Ha.
Yep. Again, that's from Lachadodi. Merosh mikedem nesucha.
Mesuha.
Okay, Lila.
Yes, number 6.
Okay.
Excuse me. Nisi, manos, vahu nisi, umanos li.
Yeah. What's that from? Vehuni si umanosli.
Alon olam.
Yes.
Danalam, right.
Good job. Good job. All right. Yay. Okay. Chet, a letter revisited, they say. I'm not sure why we're revisiting it, but okay, fine. Let's go through those. Who wants to read? Let's go back to Claire. You want to read line 9?
Okay. The poor had
Mhm.
Nuhad,
Perfect.
Nuhad, Adonai, Ehad, Shema, Ehad.
Beautiful. Alice, line 10.
B'macha Shabbat. Tehillah.
Uh-huh.
V'nismacha.
Mhm.
V'nagila.
Perfect. That first word is b'machshava. You put a taf on the end, but it was a hey there at the end. So b'machshava. But beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Terry, do you want to try line 12?
Eve. Ra. Sadiq. Ka. Ta. Mar.
Uh-huh.
Ifra.
Perfect. Lila, line 13.
Chai, Chaim, L'chaim, Chaim, Chayenu, Shecheyanu.
Shehecheyan.
Shecheyanu.
Right. A lot of syllables there. All right, Lucero, I'm going to give you the last one.
Okay. Sheher Yanu Veki Imanu Veo
Vehi.
Vehi Gianu Latzman Azeh.
Beautiful. Shehecheyanu, v'kiyamanu, v'higiyanu, lazman hazeh. That should be familiar to you, right?
It's part of the Lichtbenchen for the holidays,
Yes.
right?
Okay.
It's
Okay.
anytime you come to a milestone event in your life, you basically say that we have lived and breathed. Thank you, God, for that we have lived and breathed and gotten to this day, right? That we, and so we say it. We say Shechianu at Rosh Hashanah when we eat a new fruit. We say it when you come into a new house, when you, all of these things. So Claire, that one was for you since you have a new house.
And for my new furniture, I'm going to be saying it often.
Right. So, my kids were little. It was, Rosh Hashanah would come and they would say it on the new fruit and they would say it the first time they brushed their teeth and they would say, and then my husband would be like, okay, like it's enough already. So, I'll tell you a really, really quick, funny story. We moved into our house in August 14 years ago. And, a couple of weeks went by and my son misbehaved. And I said, okay, you need to go to your room for a timeout. And he was stomping up the stairs and he was 4 and my daughter was 7. My daughter yelled up, she goes, don't forget to say Shechianu for your first time out in the new house. Very funny. It comes up on my Facebook memories every once in a while and I laugh hysterically because I'll remember it like it was yesterday. Okay.
Oh, well, it has to be.
Page 51 is, again, they're getting you ready to say Lecha Dodi, right? So this is a good page to review. And I can actually record this one. It's a really good page to review before you actually say Lecha Dodi, because you will have lots of the words that are in Lecha Dodi here, right? So I'm gonna read them real quick just so you can hear them. You'll hear Lecha Dodi. Kala, Venelcha, Nekabla, Habracha, Velitila, Nesucha, Tchila, Tifrotzi. So all of these words, some of them are a little bit more difficult, so it will take you a while. Let's read at the bottom of 51, the matching ideas, what they're calling. Let's start with Libby. You want to start with line 1?
Lecha Dodi, Lehu, Venelcha,
Venelcha, right.
Venelcha.
Okay, Alice, 2.
Likrat kala, likrat kala,
Mm-hmm.
likrat Shabbat.
There you go. Terry, 3.
Dibur Ehad El Ham Yuhad.
Perfect.
Well, how do you say that last word? I mean, how do you say it?
Ehad. Oh, Hamiyuchad.
Hamiyuchad.
Hamiyuchad. Yep. All right, Lucero, we're going to skip to line 5 for you.
Okay. Venish Meta.
Niece. That's a sin. Niece.
Ah,
That's a sin. So it's Venice.
Venice Meha. Wait. Venagi la.
Perfect.
Veshim
C.
tira. Veshim ta. Veshim ha.
Simcha.
Uve Yatzhak hala.
Uvetzala.
Wemetz hala.
Tahala.
Ahala.
It's-
Tough one, right? Who didn't get to go? Who didn't I pick on? Claire, did I give you? Okay, do number 6.
Me?
Goi,
Claire,
goi, hala. Goi, hala.
perfect. All right. So page 52 is Lechadodi. And it's the first 4 stanzas of Lechadodi. So here's what I'm going to do. I think I want to learn the one more letter, and then I'm going to record Lechadodi, and I'm going to record Kaddish. I'd prefer that you worked on Kaddish than Lechadodi. I'd like do Kaddish first, then Lechadodi. Because that takes more time to learn. So if you get to Lechadodi this week till next week, fine. If not, that's fine too. And we are meeting next week, so perfect. Because by the way, so we're meeting next week, and then the next 2 weeks we're not meeting because it's Memorial Day and it's Shavuot.
Oh, yeah.
So if we want to try and move if we want to try and move the, oh, I can't move the 20, I can't, right, if we want to try and move to the 30th, if we wanted to do a Monday night class on the 30th, we could. But again, it's the end of Memorial Day weekend. I don't know how everybody feels about that. So think about that. So we're not like 2 weeks behind. And again, the classes are recorded. So if you can get onto that Women's League website, you can listen to the recordings. So
Oh, really?
of the class. Yeah, the classes themselves are recorded.
Oh, wow.
So, all right, so let's skip to page 54. Let's learn that last letter, which we've learned, but we're going to learn it again. And then I'm going to prioritize Kaddish, then Lechadodi. Okay. And then, by the way, the rest of the pages of the book are all getting to know different phrases and looking at the shin and the sin and looking at the bet and the vet. You know, vayachulu v'shamru, like these are all things from Friday night that they're getting you to read and to look at. So we don't have to do these. We can do, oh, we'll review one more thing. We don't have to do these. We can do any other prayers we want. Okay. So that will be part of your quote unquote homework this week, is to look through the rest of this book and say to me, I want to learn page, 70. I want to learn page whatever, so that we get, Aleinu is in here. Havu Ladonai b'nei Elim. It's one of the Psalms that we sing on Kabbalat Shabbat. Mizmor LaDavid. Like all of these, Adon Olam. So we can go over all of them. Lechuna Ranana, like all of these. Shiru Ladonai, Yismechu Hashamayim, or Zarua. So these are all Mizmor Shir LeYom HaShabbat. These are all prayers from Friday night. Some of them are also Saturday morning or other Marivs. But I want you to go through and tell me what you want to do. So we're going to learn 2 more pages. We're going to skip around a little bit to learn the last 2 letters that are in this book. And then Kaddish is going to be the priority for next week.
Okay.
And then we'll get an email chain together at the end of the week to say, what are the next things that we want to study, so that we get on those, because we want to try as much of a consensus as we can amongst the 9 people that are in the class to learn the things that you want to learn that are important to you to get down. Okay, so let's skip to page 60. So here's one of these grandiose exceptions to the rule. And in Hebrew, we don't have that many, right? We're reading everything down, up, down, up, down, up. It's pretty easy. However, when you see the chet with the line underneath at the end of the word, what's called a patach, that line at the end of the word, you actually pronounce it backwards. You pronounce it ach, not cha. So for example, page 60, line 2, the last word is Noach, right? So line 2 would be leshabeach, koach, hameniach, umeniach, Noach,
Oh,
where you're doing it backwards. It's the only time in Hebrew is when the chet and the line are at the end of the word, you pronounce it backwards. You do the ah first and then the ch. English has lots of exceptions. Hebrew, not that many. So this is one of them. This is,
that explains what I'm reading. Sometimes I don't understand why they're doing that.
it's the only exception like that where you do it backwards.
Okay.
Can you read again line 2, please?
Sure.
Okay.
And I'll record this page for you too, so you have it, because this is a good page to study. Leshabeach,
Yeah.
koach, hameniach, umeniach, Noach.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so Terry, line 8.
8,
8.
okay. Aleinu, l'shabeach,
Mhm,
Right.
mhm.
So that's the second word of Aleinu, leshabeach, right? We've
Yeah.
seen
Yeah.
that. Okay. Alice, line 9.
Kol Adonai Hashem
Uh-huh.
Baboach. Baboach.
Ba-koach,
Bajoa.
Bakoach.
right?
Yeah.
It's a hard one. Okay. I'm forgetting who I called on. Libby, line 10.
Hameniach la'amo.
Perfect. Lucero, 11.
Remaining. Remaining. Viki. Do Bikidush.
Sha.
Bikidush.
Umenia,
Bikidusha. Yeah.
Bikdusha.
Yes.
Right. All right. Claire, you haven't read yet, right? Line 13.
Noah ish Sadiq.
Right. Noach ish tzaddik. It's a very famous line of the Torah that says, Noach ish tzaddik haya bedorotav, meaning Noach was the smartest man in his generation. So they threw that in there. Okay. So that's the exception I wanted to show you. Now I'm going to jump back to page 54. I'm sorry to jump, but I want to make sure we get all of this in, because the rest of the next couple of weeks that we're going to do is just going to be what you guys want to do. We're going to do Kaddish like I promised, because I think that's important for everybody. I mean, you asked for it, but I also think it's important everybody knows it, because at some point in your life, unfortunately, you're going to have to say it. So if you're not already saying it, now and again. So, okay. I think we've learned this letter like pizza, right? Tzaddik, and the
Tzaddik.
final tzaddik, right? We've learned this, I think. And they're just going over it again. Mainly because, they did Kaddish, they did Shabbat candles, they want to do motzi. And motzi has a tzaddik in it. So they want to make sure you know about the tzaddik, right? So line 10 is hamotzi lechem min haaretz. So you have two tzaddiks, one in the middle, one at the end. Okay. But other than that, pretty much, other than, practicing reading these prayers, we've learned the whole alphabet, the few exceptions like the ach, and where you have a sin that does double duty, where the dot of the sin is also an o, right? And some of those exceptions. So, which is good. So I will tape, yeah.
I don't mean to go out of thing. On page 50, line 14, would you be able to translate that for me, please?
Yes. Oh, yes. So Shehecheyanu, Shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higanu l'zman hazeh is that we have waited and we have finished and we have gotten to this time, to this time, right? So we say these things. We say it on Rosh Hashanah. It's Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam Shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higianu l'zman hazeh. We say it at a bar mitzvah, at a wedding, that thank God that He's sustained us and fulfilled us and gotten us to this day.
I meant, like, could you tell me what each word means?
What each word is. So Shehecheyanu, I want to say, is that He has sustained us. The kiyamanu is the kayam is to continue to be here, right? So kiyamanu is that we're here. The higyanu that we got here. Lazman, to the time. Hazeh, this.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to tape 49, 51, and 60, which is going to be 49 is Shema, 51 is all of these L'chadodi matchings, and I'm sorry, and 53 that I'm going to do 53 just the Kaddish. Writing that down, and page 60. Any other, which I think is a lot for this week, but and the page 60, the new stuff. So I'm going to tape those 4 pages, 49, 51, 53, just the Kaddish at the bottom, and 60. Anything else anybody is feeling like they might want from the scattered stuff we did today? And if you do and you don't know it now and you're going through it through the week, just email me or text me or call me and we'll do it. And I'll do it for you. But like I said, most importantly, let's review the ach and the tzaddik, and let's learn Kaddish. If you do nothing else, just review those 3 things.
What are we going to be doing next week? Like, I'm asking so I can review it.
Sure. Well, that's what I want to know from you. After Kaddish, what do we want to be doing? Do we want to do L'chadodi? Do we want to do Aleinu? Where do we want to go?
Can we just follow the book page by
We
page?
can. So we can work on Kaddish, and then next week we can work on L'chadodi.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. So let's do that. We'll work on L'chadodi next week. And I'm just looking at what's after L'chadodi, just for kicks and giggles here.
Are we also doing Aleinu?
We can do L'chadodi and Aleinu next week.
Good.
We'll see if we get there, because I really want to make sure we spend time on Kaddish next week.
Okay.
Because I really, like I said, I think that's super important. So we'll do Kaddish, L'chadodi, Aleinu, and then let's come up with, what are the next things we want to do. And we could go through all of the Friday night, these are the next things, are everything for Friday night. and we can go through that. And if there's anything from Shabbat morning you want, we can, I'll get it from the Siddur and send that to you, and we can go through that as well. I know this curriculum wants you to get through Friday night and all of that, but I really want you to have more. I want you to have everything that you feel like you want to have. So, all right.
All right.
All right. It's getting heavy. It's getting heavy. All right. And if anybody
Yes.
needs help reading during the week or something like that, let me know and I'll make some time. Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Thank you.
Have
Thank
a
you
great
so
night,
much.
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Okay.
God
Bye
bless
bye.
you.